Okay, so today we're going to be doing a bit of a different video. I'm going to be reacting, well, not reacting, I'm going to be pointing out the things EazySpeezy's got wrong in his Speedrunning Cuphead video. I'm doing this actually pretty late because it didn't really occur to me that I should do this, but yeah, I wanted to make things clear what he got wrong just in case any other people wanted to get into speedrunning, and just so they don't get misinformed of things. Well, it's not really that harmful. People will one day figure out that it's not working and maybe go into Speedrun Discord and link in the description, by the way. Speedrun Discord and maybe ask some questions, and we're always welcome for more members. But anyways, let's get started.
Cuphead is a really good game. When it came out in 2017, it was instantly loved by a lot of people, including me. The entire game is hand-drawn to look like an old cartoon, and everything looks amazing. The story is pretty simple but interesting too. Cuphead and his brother Mugman were gambling at a casino and lost their souls to the devil. After that, since they wanted to keep their souls, the devil told them that they could repay their debt by taking the souls of other people who owe him, and that's where we start. Now for the gameplay, it's pretty addicting. It's full of 19
yeah, gameplay is very addicting. I mean, I have a joke surrounding me and my friends, where we rate Cuphead, and it's always a negative review or a 0 out of 10. But yeah, I'd say this is a really addicting game. You should give it a try if you don't have it.
Different boss battles, all with their different gimmicks and strategies. All of them are incredibly difficult, and the game is hard to even beat casually. I did beat it though, and I wanted more. So here we are today. Here's my Cuphead speedrun. But before we get into the actual video, I just wanted to point out that around 70% of the people who watch my channel aren't subscribed. If you end up enjoying the video and want to see more speedrun content, feel free to, because it helps out the channel a lot. But anyway, here we go. Cuphead starts out with a cutscene that we skip.
Okay, first thing I noticed, after this is my second time watching the video, by the way. I mean, the first thing I noticed now is that he's not using a loadless timer. Basically, loadless timer makes the timer pause when Cuphead's loading, which means we can time it more accurately. But it's actually really hard to set it up. Like I would say that's probably the most. This is probably the hardest part of getting into speedrunning Cuphead, so it's not that big of a deal.
And go straight to some old dude named Outer Kettle. Because of our predicament, Outer Kettle gives us powers to take out all the debtors. So we get that, leave his house, and make it to the overworld. Then we get some money from a random person sitting on the bridge and
okay, the random apple was named Mac, but it has been confirmed that Mac's name doesn't have anything to do with the fact that he's a Macintosh apple, so that's pretty cool. Let's get into follies.
Go right into the only run and gun level we'll be doing. Throughout Cuphead, there are several optional run and gun levels.
So you can see stashing. That might look pretty optimal, but there's actually a much better way to do that. Oh, not maybe much better, but there's this trick called a dash cancel, where you dash and then, okay, if you watch a little bit more.
Levels you can do. These are levels where you just try to make it to the end rather than beat a boss. And make it to the run and gun level we'll be doing.
You can see there's actually a bit of cooldown before you can dash again. But if you jump and dash, so press jump, and then immediately after the dash, it actually cancels out the cooldown. So you can simultaneously dash. You can check out any speedrun, maybe in the top 50 of the leaderboards, to instantly recognize what I'm saying right now. I mean, so that's that.
Several optional run and gun levels you can do. These are levels where you just try to make it to the end rather than beat a boss, and they give you coins which you can use to
okay, I've done that before. I won't say anything.
Buy upgrades. We want to do this level to get 5 more coins and have a total of 8. The level also isn't too difficult. The main strategy is just always be shooting and dashing forward to go as fast as possible. Then it's just a matter of
okay, he used 2 cards here, which makes me believe that he might parry twice in total. The one parry that's allowed, I mean not allowed, it's okay, it's fine, it does lose you time, but like it's almost necessary to get the coin. But anything other than that, you don't need to parry. Like the only thing it will do is lose time.
Of collecting coins and dodging enemies before we finally make it to the end. This leads us into the shop where we can buy our 2 main weapons.
Okay, well, the other thing I just noticed is that he's playing on 1.2. which is the current version of Cuphead. So I'm kind of curious if he goes for any double damage lobbers and stuff.
The speedrun, the lobber, and spread shots, but I'll explain why these are useful.
Okay, no sharp skip. Sharp skip is when you press, if you're on controller A and B at the same frame, and it buys and exits you out of the shop at the same time. Saves like 4 seconds.
As we use them. For now, we equip them to Cuphead and move on to our first boss fight, the Root Pack. This is a pretty simple boss fight where we have to deal with 3 different vegetables. First,
Okay, in Cuphead, it's rarely ever good to, if you're speedrunning, it's rarely ever good to dash at the start of the fight.
we have the squash, where we get really close to him and shoot directly in his face with the spread shot. The idea behind the spread shot is it does a lot of damage, but has low range, so this is necessary. It's not too difficult as the boss has a really simple attack pattern that you can just memorize, and all we have to do is jump over his shots as they come. Next is the onion boss, and while we wait for him to spawn, we set up a lobber trap. The lobber bounces multiple times before it disappears, so we can shoot multiple attacks in the air, and they'll all hit the onion as he spawns. Then we do 2 of our
Okay, he did do the double damage lobbers. So I'm pretty sure he's gonna explain them, but double damage lobbers don't actually work on 1.2. They do technically work if you hit the pixel perfect spot where you kind of sandwich the lobber between the boss and the ground, so it hits the boss and the ground. Like, it's very precise. It's a pixel perfect trick. I mean, that's the only way you can do double damage. But on 1.1, double damage lobbers are basically free, and if you hit that pixel perfect spot, you can go up to a triple on normal levels, sometimes quads, sometimes penta damage.
our ultimate attacks or EXs at the ground next to him. You can see how many EXs you have based on the amount of cards on the bottom left of the screen, and you fill up these cards by shooting enemies or parrying pink attacks like we did in the run and gun stage. These are obviously just more powerful attacks.
Okay, when you're using the lobber EXs downwards, it's actually better to let out one little lobber, so it goes like lobber EX, little lobber, lobber EX, little lobber. That's how you get. That's the most optimal way to do it.
Attacks that will be used a lot. Now if we shoot a lobber EX on the ground, it actually hits the boss twice and does double its normal damage, and this will be useful multiple times in the run. After we're done with the onion, we just have the carrot boss, where we want to shoot him with our spread shot and EX with the lobber until he dies. We can also intentionally take damage so we don't need to dodge his attack.
Okay, so there's this neat little trick called Cala Maria, which you didn't do, and it's actually really basic. You just EX and then swap and then swap again. If EazySpeezy's had watched Grandius, the current world record holder for 1.1 plus, this speedrunning a guide, which is on YouTube by the way, he should have like acknowledged it and used the Cala Maria. Like, they're really useful.
And finish him off pretty easily. There we go, 1 out of 19 done. The next boss battle we need to face is against Ribby and Croaks. These are 2 frogs that work together to take us out, and they share the same health.
Okay, I'm curious if he goes for any kind of skip. So, in 1.1 it's much easier to do this, but basically you can either get a super skip or a regular skip. Super skip being a skip that completely skips the second phase. Regular skip is Ribby, the shorter frog, rolls over to the other side, comes back, but doesn't do any attacks in the second phase, and Croaks, the taller frog, just comes out immediately.
Points. The initial strategy is to get close with the spread shot and shoot them with as much damage as possible. They have 2 different attacks they can do, but they're easy to dodge, so it isn't too bad. Once you get them low enough on health though, the next...
Yeah, okay, yeah, he didn't go for any skips. They're actually pretty easy to do. Yeah, super skip is pretty easy to do if you get the fist first pattern, which is Ribby, the shorter frog, attacking first. But it's gonna be pretty hard to do any kind of other trick on any other pattern, or the one cycle regular skip on the fist first pattern.
Phase is also not too bad. One tries to blow you back with a fan while the other shoots balls at you, but all we need to do is pay attention and go through. We'll also want to use our EXs whenever we can, but that's going to be true for most bosses, so for the future I'll gloss over that unless there's a specific strat.
Okay, I like that he didn't attack them while they were vulnerable, like they were already getting up. They don't actually take damage in that state.
strategy with them. Finally, they get into their last phase, which is a slot machine. Here they can use 3 different attacks. Luckily for this run though, we got the best attack 2 times in a row. The coin attack is super easy to dodge and perform EXs while you do it, so the rest of this boss was really easy. And that
I think he called the frogs the best attack. This is my personal opinion, but I like the tigers best if you're on 1 HP, and if you're on at least 2 HP, boots is the best attack. Boots is the fastest if you can damage boost, and tigers is just really consistent. It just has a really consistent pattern.
That leads us to the third fight of the run, and it's against Goopy Legrand. He's a giant slime monster that jumps around to damage you. We pretty much just follow him around with our spread shot until he switches phases. He also sometimes uses a face attack, but we can duck
Okay, it would be better if he switched lobber when Goopy was far away.
Under that and keep shooting him. Then his second phase is the exact same strategy.
Okay, even if this were 1.1, I don't think those double damage lobbers would have hit. I feel like they were a bit too far away. I'm not too sure though.
But he's bigger. It just makes him easier to hit though. Finally, we get to his last phase where he turned into a gravestone. In this phase, we just want to hit the face of the gravestone as much as possible. Since we also conserved our health, we can just take damage.
Okay, so you can see what I mean by double damage lobbers not working on the current patch. If he used at least 3 EXs on, at least 3 double damage lobbers on Goopy while he was transitioning, Goopy would have actually died like almost instantly. But you can see Goopy still well and alive, killing EazySpeezy. I like the damage boost he took though. Like, a lot of beginner players don't like to take damage, like no matter how much HP they have. But taking intentional damage can be very advantageous.
And keep hitting him to beat the boss faster. But that's about it. He's dead after just a bit more effort. Next, we do a quick airplane tutorial that we skip out of to go to Hilderberg. See, while most of the boss battles have you play as regular...
Hilderberg is a very difficult boss. One of the most difficult bosses you account. Actually, I'd say the most difficult boss in R1. Maybe it's besides Ruby Croaks. But let's see if he goes for any damage boost strats.
Or Cuphead, some of them give you airplane fights. In my opinion, these are generally easier, but it can depend on the person. For Hilda, we just need to follow her movements and constantly shoot her. She'll turn into different animals and try to hit us with her laughs, but it's not too hard to dodge. We can also use a super EX once we get 5 cards, which does some good area damage.
Okay, so this might sound weird, but the super EX, the super bomb, the super bomb doesn't do as much damage as using 5 normal EXs.
After that, it's more or less the same stuff, following her movements and getting her to freak out and turn into a moon for some reason. In this phase, she'll stick her face out at us, which is a perfect time to use regular EXs because they'll hit her multiple times.
Yeah, because her hitbox is extended, you can actually do that. But if he aimed a little bit more upwards, he could have had a chance for the EXs to clip onto the FOs and do extra damage.
Other than that, it's just some simple dodging, and we make quick work of her. This is when we get to the 5th boss, Cagney Carnation. I'm just gonna call him the flower though. Originally, when I was first speedrunning...
I see he's a bit too far away from Cagney, so when he crouches, so when he does the stretchy face, like when his face stretches out, then he might actually lose some damage while Cagney's prepping up for it.
In this game, the flower is my biggest reset point. His moves were just weird. The good
You can do some extra spread damage by aiming downwards there.
thing is, since I reset so many times, I got good enough to beat him consistently. Who would have guessed? Practice actually pays off. So I learned if he used...
Okay, I like that he says practice makes perfect. Like because if anything speedrunning has taught me is that practice does not make perfect at all.
uses his down attack, shoot up. If he uses his slipper, jump. And if he uses his seeds, jump in EX. The first phase is just reacting to his moves, and the second phase is pretty much the same. He does...
Okay, you can actually go to the furthest right platform and duck, and the projectiles can actually hit you. The only thing you have to be careful of is the roots coming up.
Let's take up more of the map in the second phase though, so we need to always be on the platforms. But after playing this guy enough times, he becomes really easy to read. It's just use the lobber, jump, use an EX, and slowly take out his health. So hey, another one off the list, and now we're moving into the next area after a short talk with King Dice. Here's where we get into another fight, which used to be a huge reset point for me, Baroness von Bonbon.
Oh, I see, it's switched to P-Shooter. Switching to P-Shooter, I understand switching to P-Shooter if it was a boss like Britney Beard or Phantom Express, but Well, keeping lobber and spread for the entire fight is always the most optimal. And Baroness isn't even that hard to deal with, even if you do have lobber. So I don't really see the point of switching to Peachtree here.
Bonbon is annoying because she has multiple different mini bosses that you need to defeat before attacking her. Also, there's more stage hazards with each boss. We got a good start with the gumball boss, who you just need to lead in a circle and spread shot. But I was bad and got hit. That kinda hurt. Next phase, we got the chocolate guy who flies around and shoots his...
This is gonna be controversial. Like, he calls it chocolate, I call it a waffle. Actually, I won't talk about it.
Body all across the stage. This is really difficult to deal with, but after playing this fight way too many times, I had a good read on how to finish him off. Finally, we got the muffin. This dude jumps around the map and causes damage.
Again, I call him a cupcake though.
Around him. We stay away from him and be a little patient, and he's not too bad. This puts us in the final phase of Bonbon, but while she's getting that ready, we can do multiple spread shot EX.
Okay, he had 2 HP, which means it would have been enough for him to kill Baroness before she actually started doing some serious damage. If you just stayed there and kept his spread damage.
Is directly on her, making every shot hit her, doing massive damage. If I saved all my hearts, I could have damage boosted and finished.
Okay, so he was going for a little bit of safe strat where he wants to conserve all his HP, not just 2.
Her off with this strategy, but I'm bad, so I had to back off and beat her with the regular shot. Oh yeah, this is the reason why we switched back to that for the Bonbon fight, by the way. But anyway.
Oh, okay, so we switched to Peachtree because of the final phase. But if you get better at the game, like spend more time, you can actually get really good at beating the head and survive with 1 HP.
Like any other boss, she falls and we can move on. Now before we get to the next boss, we want to talk to this random guy who upgrades our airplane with another attack, which you'll see when we use it in the next fight against Wally Warbles. Wally is another pretty simple air fight. We follow his moves and dodge his attacks. We also want to parry one of the pink birds to fill up our meters and use a super once he gets to this stage so we can finish it quickly. The next phase he becomes a baby bird and we want to get as close to the little guy as possible. He periodically tries to shoot us, but that can be parried and the dude doesn't take too long to finish. Finally, the last phase of Wally is him on a literal stretcher, but that doesn't stop us.
Okay, he wasn't attacking the heart when it came out. When Wally's heart comes out, the only part you can damage is his heart.
Use our new attack to hit him from above and use EX moves on the side of him.
Yeah, you saw that the EX just kind of phased through him while the heart was out.
To hit him multiple times. Also, when Wally dies, the bird's carrying him.
Okay, I didn't really see anything wrong about that fight, like anything he got wrong. And that was an okay fight, I would say.
Take out salt and pepper, so that's interesting. Anyway, hey look, we have another flying fight right away. The Genie the Great. I probably pronounced his name wrong, so I'm just gonna call him the Genie. In the Genie's first phase, he'll try to attack us with some projectiles. We'll want to parry as many as possible and hit him with all the EXs we have. After that is an auto-scroller part where we need to dodge the blades and shoot.
Okay, the most optimal way you can destroy the faces is use 5 bullets and 1 bomb, because the damage you do in the second phase carries over to the third phase, and if you do it correctly and precisely, you can actually skip the third phase entirely. Well, so not technically skip, but Jimmy will stretch out his face, go back, and then immediately die.
His faces to advance. Then it's a bit of fighting in his coffin phase, but since we damaged him so much earlier, this doesn't take too long. The Genie kinda gets desperate here, so he copies us and uses a replica to attack.
Okay, right there, using bomb EXs would have been better than using the normal bullet EXs, because how we determine when you use a bomb EX or a bullet EX is how thick or long the hitbox of the enemy you're hitting right now is, and you can see the Cuphead's hitbox is very thin, so bomb EX would have been much better.
Attack us. Yeah, it's a 1-to-1 imitation. Here we want to hit him with a few EXs before charging up our super while dodging attacks before using it to finish off this phase. Then we finally get into his last phase. Yeah, I know he has a lot, where he becomes really big. This kind of just means he's easy to hit though, periodically dodging attacks from his eyes and the floating
Okay, right here, bomb EXs are better in energy as well.
Pyramids while using some EXs.
Energy stands for no major glitches, by the way. If I do a quick explanation of the versions, 1.1 plus is where you can either play on 1.1 or current patch, and I say I say it's the harder version to learn for new players, but it's also probably the most fun for me. And while in NMG, you what is it? You can only play in 1.2, and you don't really get access to a lot of the glitches. Like, it's literally called no major glitches, so a lot of the major glitches are banned.
To whittle down his health. Finally, we can move on. This dude takes forever. And it's time for an even weirder fight, Beppy the Clown. Beppy is aggravating because there are so many dumb things that can hit you. He starts out hanging out in a bumper car while some ducks fly above the stage. I really focus on hitting the ducks because we'll have to jump over Beppy multiple times, and I don't want to take unneeded damage.
He killed the parry, which I don't like. Taking the parries actually. Taking parries in this boss particularly is pretty good, except for the nose of the train.
After a bit, he'll go into his next phase. His head becomes a big balloon, and he uses balloon animals to attack you while the roller coaster comes by periodically. This part isn't too scary, but we want to kill him as fast as possible. This is because we want to beat his next phase before the roller coaster comes by. Unfortunately, I got...
Like, he could have set up a little lava trap there, and he did get unlucky. Like, I don't blame him. I don't blame him for that.
Bad RNG, and he spawned on the wrong side of the stage, but we catch up to him and shoot him from below. Here's where it got a bit scary though. The roller coaster came by and I got hit, leaving...
Like, you can actually tell that the roller coaster is coming in by the background, and yeah, if you play this fight a bunch of times, you'll just kind of know when the roller coaster is coming in.
Me with only a single heart. Thankfully, I finished this phase without taking any more damage, and there was only one more phase left. We can set up a lava trap and hit his final phase with multiple spread shot EXs. Then we need to stay above the...
Okay, I'm kind of confused. If he knew that double damage lobbers were active, he would have gone for the double damage lobbers instead of the spread EXs. Huh. Okay, let's continue watching.
The roller coaster for a bit, continue to hit him, and finally finish him off with one last EX. This was actually terrifying though, because I was incredibly close to getting hit by a baseball, but hey, doesn't matter, we made it through. Now it's time to get onto the hard part of the game. Our next fight is the dragon Grim Matchstick. The dragon starts out with hitting us with some eye beams, but we can parry.
Okay, it's not worth taking parries on Grim.
Some of them. Then he has this annoying attack where he'll try to use fireballs and his tail at the same time. I usually try to stay far back because this part is really easy to get hit in. The next
if you are a beginner player, I don't recommend spread shotting Grim ever.
phase is easy though. The dragon starts shooting out fire people which periodically try to jump and hit us. That's all we need to focus on though, so you just have to watch them and see if any are starting the jumping animation. Finally, after a bit more damage, the dragon sprouts 3 heads, and I hate this phase. The heads will shoot fireballs, but if we hit them with our shots, they burst and are even harder to dodge. The strategy...
Oh, okay, let's do the strategy. I was about to say something.
For this is only shoot when I'm jumping far above the dragon heads to make...
Okay, that's not really true. Like, you can always be shooting. You just have to react quickly to the fireballs. Like, and also when you're turning back from the boss, you don't shoot any shoot actually any lobbers. And the good strategy here would be to jump at EX above the screen, so easier dodge the fireballs.
Make sure this doesn't happen. He also has a fire breath attack, but we just need to stay above him, and it's perfect time to shoot some EXs. The final phase is terrifying for me because I have lost way too many runs to it, but I finally finished it off by being patient and sticking to the plan. Now hey look, we can go on to the third island. King Dice tries to talk to us one more time, but no one really cares what he has to say, and we go into another major reset point for me, Rumor Honeybottoms.
Rumor Honeybottoms is all RNG. Like, I won't really blame him for anything that happens here. Like, if he dies, that's RNG. If he succeeds, like, if he has a good time, that's still RNG.
The B area starts out with a police officer charging at us and throwing out some weird exploding orb thing. We have to dodge the random worker bees too, who look way too sad. I try to stay far away from everything because we really don't want to get hit here. Then we have a couple more phases where we fight the queen bee. She starts out with
you got the one of the worst RNG possible. There's Rumor Honeybottoms can start with either triangles first, middle first, or orbs first. Middle first is the most difficult, but it's the fastest. Orbs is faster than triangles, but it's all, again, it's difficult. Triangles is the easiest, but it's the slowest.
ball attack which follows us, but it's pretty slow and easy to dodge. Then she uses a triangle attack, which also isn't too bad, but you'll notice something. I stopped shooting at her. I used my cards to see how much damage I've done in this fight, and once it reaches around this point, I stop. This is because we don't want to get her into her next phase.
Okay, he's going for a safe 3-cycle strat here, but you can actually 2-cycle her in any pattern. And by 2-cycle, we count the thing she does while transitioning to the playing phase.
Yeah, since we can do more damage for that phase during this one. After she gets into her next attack pattern, we're free to attack again and get more and more damage. The phase is easy to dodge and it gives us a ton of time.
Okay, I don't see the reason why he's not using his EXs here.
To attack. Then in a little bit, she
to use them here.
Comes back down and turned into a plane. But because we did so much damage earlier, this phase is really quick to beat, and that's good because it's usually not a fun one. Next, we have to fight Dr. Call's robot. The robot fight starts with us needing to attack 3 different points: its head, chest, and belly. Once all 3 spots are destroyed, its heart comes out, and we can shoot that for a while until it breaks. Here's where we have a really cool strat where we can skip the next phase by shooting the robot's flying head and using a super, doing just enough damage to end the phase. Then unfortunately, we get into the robot's final phase. Here the scientist uses a bunch of projectiles and we need to dodge all of them. The phase is annoying because this goes on for a very long time and it's just constantly paying attention, which can get really stressful. Finally though, we beat it with just 1 hit point left, so that was a little
nice. GG. Dr. Cow is definitely a really hard boss.
Too close for comfort. Okay, time for some easier bosses at least. Let's go to Sally's stage play.
Okay, it would have actually been much better. Like, not just a little bit, much better if he stayed on lava for this fight.
Sally is a woman who is about to get married, but decides to fight us for some reason. Probably because I'm trying to take her soul. Her first phase is pretty easy where we just shoot her with her spread shot and she loses all her health. She has slow moving attacks, so this isn't a problem at all. In the next phase, it's pretty much the same thing, but she also has robots to attack us and a baby that throws bottles at us the whole time. I hate this kid. And third phase is when Sally turns into... I'm not actually sure what this is supposed to be, and uses meteors, large waves, and lightning to damage us. But she's close to the ground, so it's a good time to get some close quarter spread shots. We finally get to her last phase where she flies around the top of the screen.
Okay, if you were to use Lobber and the optimal strategy, which isn't really hard at all, and he would have actually killed this final phase like super fast.
Umbrella chases after us and roses fall onto the stage. Here I just want to jump up and spread shot her, eventually getting rid of the final bits of her health, so yeah, not too bad. And the next fight is also pretty easy because we just need to beat the rat, Werner Werman. The rat starts out with some relatively easy to dodge attacks and we just use our regular shot on him.
Okay, I kind of do understand him keeping his Pister on Werner Werman here. On my 3rd run, I think, I switched to Pister on Werner because I wasn't too good with Lobber on Werner. And my first ever speedrun was a P-shooter only speedrun, so I had quite a bit of experience with P-shooter.
And yeah, like I said, the attacks are easy to dodge, but I somehow got hit twice, so that was fun. At least in the next phase, we just need to switch between the top and bottom platform while shooting him with our spread shot. A lot of stuff comes after you, but it's all slow and relatively stress-free. Finally, we get to the cat phase, where we take out his health with a bunch of spread shot EXs, and it's not bad at all. The cat has very slow attacks, and it's just a matter of not being bad. Yeah, I'm also surprised that I succeeded at that. Anyways, our next boss is...
Okay, Briny Beard is the boss where if you're a beginner, you don't want Lobber, because Lobber is such a weird angle and it's not going to be very useful in hitting him.
This is Captain Britney Beard. This fight can be kind of...
Did you just call Briny Britney? Okay, I won't judge.
Annoying, but also isn't too bad. We mostly want to stay close to the captain and hit him with spread shots. Then when he tries to attack, we can back up and use our regular shot, always being mindful of the barrel that tries to fall on us. As the fight goes on, the captain will send out more animals and the boat will try to spit at us, but I maintain my distance and slowly decrease his health. This is when the boat gets sick of Britney Beard and kicks him off. For this phase, I like staying back and taking my time.
Okay, if he didn't use any EXs, well, maybe he could have used some, but if he saves 5 cards for the final phase, Grandius in his beginner tutorial, he actually teaches a 1 cycle for the final phase where you have to use all 5 EXs and need to have good caliber swaps. So basically, you sit on a spread and do P-shooter Peachler Club assaults 5 times. So with that, you can actually kill the boat in one go, like without him closing his mouth again.
Time to dodge the fireballs. Then when the boat uses a charge attack, we can duck under it while getting some spread shot damage in. After a bit of this, the boat finally gets beat.
Okay, the spread shot damage right there doesn't do it. Actually does barely no damage. You can tell by his car's generation rate, and also only like 1 or 2 of the spread bullets are hitting him. Right, watch the car generation here.
We can duck under it while getting some spread shot damage in. After a bit of this, the boat finally gets beat, and we move on to Cala Maria. Maria is a mermaid, I think, but she uses multiple sea creatures to attack us. She can also combine attacks, making them hard to dodge, as you can see with me taking damage. This is when I died. Yeah, so
okay, funny story, I have a friend who's top 5, and all of his runs nowadays are ending to Cala Maria. Yeah, Cala can be a pretty difficult boss if RNG decides to screw you over.
Little backstory for this run, more than anything, I wanted to get a deathless speedrun. So for about 3 days, that's all I did. This resulted in around 20 hours of just constant failure. But this was the farthest I've ever got.
Okay, I actually respect EazySpeezy's for being able to put 20 hours into this game. Like, ever since I became a speedrunner and got high, and I think it's because of my high standards, high expectations now, I can barely play this game for 30 minutes at a time, 30 minutes straight.
So I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna keep going. Yeah, I'm really happy I did that for my sanity. Anyways, in our second attempt against Maria, we dodged her attacks in a much better way and got onto her Medusa Phase. Here she can freeze you and you need to mash out of it. She also
he has 3 HP here, which means he could have taken 1 damage boost and avoided the green stoning beam.
Also gets eels to attack us as well, but they have pretty easily dodgeable attacks, so it wasn't too bad. Finally, we got onto this phase, and now she's just ahead. It's pretty much the same idea now. Dodge her attacks and mash out of the freezing until she's dead. We also didn't even take any damage here, so why couldn't I have done this first try? Whatever, let's move on to...
Phantom Express is a really difficult boss. I think he would stay on Peachler for this fight. Not too sure, but yeah, Phantom Express is very difficult. I've been practicing this boss for the past few months. Like there's a new strategy and I've been practicing that strategy and that strategy only. I did get a 1 minute 1 second Phantom like once, and then but suddenly now I can't do it anymore. Like I can't get good times anymore on this boss for some reason.
To our final 3 bosses of the game. The 17th fight of the game is the Phantom Express, and yeah, I got hit right away, so I quickly reset.
Okay, restarting, that's actually a really good strategy. Like unless you're really skilled and you're going for the best time you can actually achieve, if you like screw up, you're just gonna have to cope with it and deal with it through the entire fight. But restarting when you don't have a PB or you're starting out speedrunning, I definitely recommend doing it.
Because I really didn't want another death. Anyways, usually this first phase isn't too hard. We just shoot his eyes and dodge the pink things that the flying pumpkins drop. Not too bad. The second phase ramps up the difficulty though, because we need to move the cart back and forth by parrying the sides. We always want to be right under his head so we can use spread shots and not get hit by the hands. The things that the pumpkins drop can also move the cart and mess everything up, so we need to be wary of that. The third phase has 2 different heads sprouting up from both sides of the train. We can use spread shot EXs to do a lot of damage, but their attacks can get a bit annoying. Eventually though, they crumble and we're on to the last phase. Here's where the train becomes a running furnace. We need to open it up by hitting the pink tail and then shooting its heart. When we do this, it shoots a bunch of fireballs at us, so we need to constantly dodge those. Honestly, not too bad, so finally we got it done and there were only 2 more fights. Now before we get to the devil, it's time to fight King Dice. King Dice has an interesting...
Okay, King Dice, there's actually 2 potential routes you can go for. There's 3, 4, 8, and 3, 5, 7. 3, 5, 7 is the harder route where it saves time, but you fight worse bosses, and 3, 4 is the much safer route.
Mechanic where you hit a 3-sided dice and will fight whichever boss you land on throughout this track. There are also extra hearts on the board if you hit them, so I actually decided to reset the fight once to get better play.
Okay, I don't recommend restarting King Dice though if you get bad hearts. Like, if the hearts are a decent boss, or if the hearts are a decent boss, you can like go for it. Like you don't really have to go to the either 348 or 357. And if the hearts are on the bosses you don't like maybe all three of them are on bosses you don't like, maybe then you can reset. But if at least one are on the boss you like I would recommend not resetting at all.
Placement, so the hearts matched the fights I wanted to do. The first fight we hit a 3 and fight this boss. We had a cool strategy where once he comes to our side, we damage boost through him and he shoots at literally nothing. Then we get a ton of free damage and he's really easy to finish. Next we want to get a 1 on the dice to get a safe spot and then another 3. This puts us at the
fear lap. So Grandi's again the guy who created the beginner intermediate tutorial for this Cuphead for Cuphead. He does recommend Fear Lap, number 6.
Skeleton horse. Here we just need to dodge his present attack and the jumping horsemen at the bottom. We only need to be aware of the blue ones though, since they're the only ones that jump, so it's not too bad. Even though I lost 2 hearts. Anyways, we get another 3 on the dice and fight literally the easiest boss in the game. The pool ball just kind of sits there, sometimes sending out a beam of light, and we just need to use the X's on him and dodge his very easy attacks. Now finally, after those 3 mini bosses, we can roll a 2 for another safe spot and another 2 to fight King Dice. In this phase we need to parry the pink cards he sends out while shooting him with our spread shot. This isn't too bad once you get used to it, and it's easy to get some steady damage out. We can also EX in between the card waves to get some extra damage, and eventually King Dice falls. It's time for the final.
I'd say that was a very for someone starting out Speedrun, I say that was a very clean fight.
Final boss, the Devil. The Devil is a hard boss. He has a lot of different annoying attacks he can use, but as long as we're careful, it's not too bad. Too bad I wasn't careful. But we just want to dodge the different attacks that come out and play smart. You don't need to rush this fight, just react, keep track of his minions, and stay calm. That didn't stop me from getting hit a second time in the first phase though.
Oh no.
Yeah, I was stressed. But the next phase isn't too bad.
Okay, let's see if it goes through Geo Buffer. So if you pause while the screen is descending, if you unpause and use an EX, you can start control of your character sooner.
His hurt boxes are on his eyes, and they're pretty big targets. Other than that, we dodge his axe attacks that come through, and parry whenever he uses his weird ear bomb attack. Not too bad. Once he gets into his angry phase, we have some more things to worry about. And oh, wait, I just died. Yeah, but
I think I jinxed it. Well, it's fine. Like, you can still go for around sub 50, which is like, especially with a real-time timer, that's actually really good.
I'm so far in the run that I might as well finish it. So as I was saying, once we get into the angry phase, we have to worry about the purple monsters on the side of the Devil, but their attacks are pretty predictable. Then we EX his eyes to get a ton of damage as we go through. I did get hit a few times in this phase, but that was fine because I almost never die in the final phase when he cries like a baby. Here there's only one platform, and are you kidding?
Okay, that was really unfortunate. So you can there's actually a little safe spot between the tiers and the poker chips where you don't take damage. So, but it's a really tight spot, and I think he was trying to go for it, but maybe he moved a little bit too to the left. But okay, let's hope he does get a sub 50 though.
Me. Yep. I died again. Fine. One last time. We make it to this last phase. When the poker chips fall down on a platform,
you want to be jumping here for better damage.
We do this little movement where we jump around them. It's awesome.
He almost hit again. He almost died again. But yeah, I don't know if you saw it, but there is a little safe spot between the tiers and the poker chips.
And we finish out the Devil and finally complete our speed.
Nice. GG. Okay, so that was a 47-15 minute speedrun with a lowless time, with a real time timer. So if you take the low times that you take into account, that's actually more like a 44-minute run, which is like amazing actually. Like sub 50 is amazing for a first run.
Speedrun 47-15, which looking on.
Oh wait, there's me.
And finally complete our speedrun 47-15.
Okay, let me skip some frames. I really want to see myself here. Oh, this is before I got 21st place. Okay, so there I am, 48th place, 3420. I think 3420 was a deathless run. I think. Yeah, so currently my time is 30:56, which places me 21st in the leaderboards and first in my country, Korea. And yeah, I'm trying to improve it because now that I'm looking at it from while I'm much better at the game now, I feel like it's a terrible run. First file was decent. I even got a 45 Ruby, which is like 45 Ruby is the former best achieved time on Ruby Croaks. Anyways, and then but aisle 2 and 3 just kind of sucked.
Looking on speedrun.com puts us at 148th place. We are...
Oh, okay. That actually makes me realize that there's actually a lot more people who have started speedrunning Cuphead now. Because when I did my first one, it was a 49:19, and I think that was like 96 on the leaderboards for me.
Done. Hey, I know there were some big mistakes at the end of the run. I just can't do this again. Yeah, Cuphead speedrunning broke me.
Okay, that was a pretty good video. Anyways, my final word for this is don't speedrun Cuphead. I rate this game 0 out of 10. But if you do want to speedrun this game, you're always free to join the speedrunning Discord. And okay, so that was it for today's video. That was a 40-minute recording. Wow. Okay, anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video or stream if you follow me on Twitch, and see ya.